Good morning. Hope everybody's having a beautiful Tuesday. Feels like Monday to me. My days are all over the place. So, I wanted to make a video in regards to my experiences with plant medicine. And I'm not just referring to psychedelic plant medicine. I'm referring to all the ones that serve me. But first, I was compelled to read a little something from this book. So this whole spiritual awakening, what is it all about? What is the end goal? And what I'm going to share with you is the end goal. And that is Christ consciousness. That is our ultimate goal, to reach Christ consciousness. Now, so many people, they don't understand, they say, you hear Jesus Christ and they think, oh yeah, Jesus Christ, that's Jesus. Christ isn't his name. Christ is a state of consciousness. It's a state of awareness that we are all striving for. And once we reach it, that's where oneness comes, divine love, unconditional love. But I'm going to attempt to read a passage from this book. It's the Christ Blueprint, and it just teaches you the 13 keys to obtaining Christ consciousness. And the passage I'm going to read from is called Losing It All. And the chapter's shadow side. So it says, losing it all. To surrender to life and love means you lose everything that you, as the limited self, have worked so hard to maintain in so many lifetimes. In order to maintain your ordered, non-threatening, and comfortable existence, ignorance is bliss. Whereas surrender is the death knell of the illusion, the trumpet announcing the birth of the soul. Resistance to surrender comes from the fear that one will give away their personal power to someone or something outside of them. True surrender arises from you having a strong sense of who and what your soul really is. That you allow yourself to let go of the beliefs about what or who you should be in exchange for a much more expanded, luminous, and open sense of what you can become. Each act of surrender is an act that values the soul. Each act of surrender is the death of control and the end of the ego's assertion that it is the master. The ego cannot survive and maintain its grips if one is surrendered into the flow of life and its infinite movements. This is why it will try to maintain its grip at all costs, even to the point of death and suicidal thoughts. Surrender is opening up to the mystery and allowing it to move through you in all its ways. Surrender is the ultimate risk for the mind-body. Only a person who risks is free. The person who risks nothing, does nothing, lives in sloth. To risk being soft, being surrendered, being vulnerable is to risk learning, growing, changing, living, and loving aspects of the vital, empowered, and unfolding wave of life. Sometimes we may feel the flow of loving wisdom wishing to express itself through us, but there is resistance. We may not voice it or express it so that the body-mind feels justified in its actions, so that the body's mind can feel safe and secure in its position, in its well-worn reference groove. This is the opposite of surrender, control, and contraction. When we are tight in any part of the body or mind, when we seize up and feel tension, when we harden up, when we shrink in resistance in any situation or relationship, we lessen and diminish ourselves. Opening to love can only come through us fully when we surrender this resistance and let go into voicing vulnerability. This surrender into the opening of love heals all things, for only in giving can we truly receive. And any other reference groove or point is based on conditionality and need, a need that can never be fulfilled by anything, any relationship, or any situation or object of yourself. So give up the hooks of the ego, snagged into needing anything from partner, friends, and family, government, or children. Only fear, the voice that keeps dual voices and feelings alive, can temporarily restrain this. So step out your fucking comfort zone. Quit fearing it. Once you step into this flow, the universe has your back unconditionally, and everything will just start flowing together, and you will literally have the blueprint to your life. So until you surrender, you're just going to be stuck in this vicious ass cycle of doing the same shit and not getting anywhere in life. But I just wanted to share that. Either way, let's talk about this plant medicine. I think it's extremely important because I go on Facebook once in a great while, but it's a community. It's a spiritual awakening community. And, people post questions and, others respond with their experience. And one that I keep on coming across is, pharmaceutical drugs, and can they help you or serve you during your spiritual awakening? And in my advice, I'm going to just say, fuck no, they can't. That's like putting a Band-Aid on a bullet wound. The reason why this is all coming to the surface in the begin with, so we could deal with it, so we can get it behind us. But if we're constantly trying to numb ourselves with these fucking pharmaceutical pills that don't have our highest good, all we're doing is preventing the inevitable, and we're just fucking sloth. We're not moving forward. So the first medicine that I wanted to get into is kratom. Now, if you are prescribed to any type of benzodiazepine, which is like Xanax, Klonopin, any anti-anxiety medication, then this plant will serve you. Now, a lot of people kind of have a package deal going on where they're addicted to these, or they're dependent on these anti-anxiety pills, as well as things like Subutex or there's a few names of them, but it's pretty much, it just takes away your withdrawal from opiates, but it doesn't give you any type of euphoria. And honestly, that medicine attaches so tightly to your opiate receptor that it is almost impossible to get off. I'm not saying that you can never get off it. I'm just saying the chances of you are fucking like slim to none. And then people are just stay on this medication and just maintain on it because they're not out there drug hunting and they ain't going through withdrawals, but they're still attached to this substance. So if you have those two issues in your life where you're on a benzo and you're on some type of, opiate resuscitation type deal, kratom. I've recommended this to numerous people, and within a week, they completely quit taking their Subutex and replaced it with kratom. Bam. Haven't had a Subutex in fucking months. Anti-anxiety, bam. They winged themselves down until they got to a very, very low dose where they could just completely take themselves off it. And I just wanted to stress, this ain't medical advice. I'm no fucking medical doctor, and I stress to you, just do your research and go within and see if this connects to you, because I swear it will serve you so well. And I'm going to tell you my story, what I was going through when I came across this. But Subutex, bam, X that shit out and replace it with kratom. Now, a lot of some of the states have a ban on it, but you just have to do your research. And if it's meant for you, the universe will make sure you get this medicine. And it also helps as an energy supplement. But one thing I want to stress is there's also dependency issues on it. So if you use it excessively, just know that you're still going to have a dependency on opiates. But it'll be a lot easier for you to wing yourself off it because it doesn't attach to your opiate receptor as strongly as, Subutex or methadone or, heroin or any type of pain pills. So definitely look into that because Spirit is telling me that I really need to share this information with everybody because it's these medicines were out here they were put on this planet to serve us during our healing, but there's so much false information out there to make you stay away from it, and you fucking become dependent on Big Pharma. And Big Pharma's sweating. They want a ban on this plant, and there's people fighting against that shit, and we're going to keep on doing that. But just know that if you do excessively eat it, you will become dependent on it, and there is some form of withdrawal. And that was one thing that, that they failed to mention to me, and I didn't do my research, thoroughly. And honestly, it didn't even matter because where I was headed was that same revolving door of addiction. Bam. And it just took me out of that, and it just gave me the space that I needed, the time and the space to let go of all that addiction shit that was clouding my brain. And you know, back on the Kratom, they want a ban on it. So what they're doing is they're saying that it's deadly and you could die and you could overdose from it. But I'm just going to share what the fuck is really going on. So Kratom acts on an opiate receptor, on your U receptor, right? And same one that pain pills does. So people that are addicted to like heroin, methadone, all them strong opiates, right? They end up not being able to find their dope one day, and they come across this plant. And they ended up taking it, and it relieves some of their withdrawals, if not all of their withdrawals. And then they end up finding their drugs, you know, whatever it is, and fucking end up using, and their tolerance goes down, and they go back to using the same amount of dope that they were in the beginning and end up overdosing. So when they die and they go to the coroner and they do the autopsy, they see that Kratom was in their system, and they totally disregard the fucking methadone, the crack, the heroin, the fucking fentanyl, and just say, nope, it was the Kratom, you know, and that's absolutely bullshit. It's bullshit. And you guys got to look through this bullshit. Like, use your heart through this. They just don't want you to heal. That's all it is. And once you realize that these plants are here to serve us and you could use them for your highest good, your life will start changing. It will literally start changing. So just remember, they don't have our highest good, and they don't want you to know about this plant. And man, how has it served me? I wanted to share one more thing with you about this, so they disregard all the other drugs, and then they pin it on Kratom. And I've used Kratom excessively. Like, in the beginning, I was eating it far more than I needed to, but that was just the addict in me. And the worst thing that happened to me is I got this little eye wobble thing where your vision's a little funny and you get nausea. But other than that, you're going to get sick before you kill yourself. Stay away from the extracts and the shit like that. Just get the leaf, get the powdered leaf. So, in my experience, I struggled with addiction my whole life. My whole fucking life, I've struggled with addiction. I mean, I remember stealing my mom's bong at the age of like 4 or 5 years old because I seen her use it, and go in the closet and start sucking on it. You know what I mean? I found a joint on the ground at the age of 6 and smoked it with my sister. Like, I've been using drugs since I was like 5 years old. And that's a sad fucking story. And this shit has just followed me, you know, this addiction. And it just switched over, went from fucking, you know, marijuana, alcohol, fucking club drugs, to fucking cocaine, to fucking heroin, and all that. And it was just a recycle door. Well, if you know my story, you know I got out of prison, I started getting my shit together, and everything was going good. Well, there was a time where I kind of started falling into my old patterns, because I was living a lie, and I didn't even know it, you know, living up to everybody else's expectations. So what do? I fell back into that pattern, and I started using, really, like, not like where I would become dependent, but, you know, a couple times a week I would take a fucking pain pill, or, you know, I'd fucking dip my finger in my sister's methadone, shit that I shouldn't have been doing. And one day I was like fucking having a rough day, and them cravings were coming, and they were so fucking powerful that the only thing I could fucking possibly think of is just drug hunting. And I was like, where am I going to get it? Where am I going to get it? Where am I going to get it? And I ended up fucking calling a guy that I had met through work, who I looked out for this kid, you know, and like, there was no reason for him to do what he did to me. But anyways, I gave him my money, and he fucking robbed me. He just took me for my money. And at the time, I held resentment towards that guy. But I just realized that was just God intervening and saying, you don't want to go back down this path anymore. You know, and they saved my life. And then I started figuring out about this Kratom. Like, I had a couple articles that I had read, but I didn't really get too much into it. But I knew they sold it at the vape shop that I went to. So I was like, well, I didn't believe in it. I'm not going to lie to you. Like, in the beginning, I'm like, this leaf ain't going to do shit for me. What the fuck is a leaf going to do compared to a pain pill, right? And that was my mentality. But then I said, just fucking go try it. Just try it. What do you got to lose, you know? So I ended up buying a little bottle of it, and I took a dose, and sure enough, the shit blew my fucking mind. It completely removed that fucking craving for opiates. It calmed me down and just gave me a peaceful space to just get my mind, body, and soul together. And ever since then, I've just been utilizing it. And I know eventually that it's going to leave me, but I'm going to be grateful until it does, you know? And that's what we're doing. You know, there's certain things that we got to put in place during our healing journey because, you know, sometimes so much gets in the way of it and we fall back into them same patterns. And it's so easy to do. So what this will do will give you a space where it will fucking remove all that craving, all that fucking withdrawal, all that anxiety, and give you time to heal. And once you heal yourself, this addiction will eventually leave you. And it works for anti-anxiety as well. But the thing about that is if you're addicted or you're fucking dependent on anti-anxiety and you discontinue it, you could fucking seizure off and die. So you have to make sure that you wing yourself down to where you're fucking like, you're taking no more than like, I want to say like a 0.05 fucking a day, or maybe even half of that, like real low dose where you could just let it go and replace it with the kratom and watch. Your anxiety is going to fucking subside and you're going to feel good. And it's even going to feel even better because you're putting a plant source in your body and you're not using some pharmaceutical poisoning. Like, this plant has served me so much during my ascension, like so much, like more than I could probably even possibly imagine, you know, on so many levels, on an emotional level, physical level, spiritual level. Like, it served me so well, and I cannot stress it enough. And I know it's part of my purpose to share this medicine with others because they're trying to put a stigma on it and trying to tell you that, oh, this fucking medicine, you know, oh, it's, you know, it's deadly, it's this, it's that. But it's not. It's really not. Look what they did to cannabis for so long. Fucking cannabis was banned for like 100 years, however long. And, you know, it's a medicine. They just didn't want you to know so that they could fucking sell you some other shit that you could become dependent on. And that's just not what it is. So I encourage you to do your research on kratom, because if it wasn't for kratom, I wouldn't be here on this video speaking with you. It's guaranteed that I'd be on the streets of Chicago right now, banging dope, living that lifestyle, and just one track mind. And that's where am I getting it, when I'm getting it, how am I getting it. So kratom, look it up. And if it's banned in your state, find a fucking family member. Find a family member that it's not banned in the place that they live. Have them purchase it and then mail it to you. However you got to get it, man. Fuck this. Fuck these government. Like, fuck all that shit, man. Like, I know these videos that I'm going to make are eventually going to get banned. So I'm going to fucking make a Patreon so I can keep this shit going, because the things that I'm going to talk about, you know, they don't want you to know. And I know eventually, like I said, one day my channel's going to disappear, and I don't give a fuck. But if I create a Patreon where I can make the content that I would like to without having to worry about, you know, all that other shit, then that's what I'm going to do. Because personally, I'm not worried about monetizing my videos. This is just an expression of me to be of service and to help all you during your journey. Because I know it could be quite difficult, especially when you don't have people there supporting you. And it makes it even worse. And then you want to turn to these drugs because you feel like there's no support. So like, I'm going to let this drug support me. But that's just going backwards, and we're not trying to do that. So cannabis as well. You know, everybody knows about cannabis. Honestly, me personally, I'm developing a new relationship with cannabis where I don't use it excessively, you know. I might use it at the end of the day, you know, during a meditation or something along that lines, but, you know, I don't abuse it like I used to. And it's, you know, feel it out. If you feel like you're supposed to be smoking cannabis all day and fucking sucking on a vape pen or whatnot, then do that, I guess, you know. But eventually, you know, it's going to fall away from you. eventually it's going to all fall away and you'll be fucking free from your demons. But me personally, I just use it a little bit more respectively because it is a powerful plant and it could really help bring out the shadow aspects of you, and you process them in a productive manner. The next medicine I wanted to get into is psilocybin, psychedelic mushrooms, because honestly, I believe that it was my psychedelic experience that really activated my DNA for me to go through this awakening. I could tell, like, right when I got locked up and went to prison and I was a junkie, I didn't know it at the time that it was a divine intervention. I knew, but I didn't know that it was going to lead to this. And so psychedelic mushrooms served me so well. And if you're going through any type of fucking depression or like you have anxiety or anything like that, find you this medicine and just utilize it. Like, plan a ceremony, use ritual, like fucking respect the medicine, because it will fucking just really take care of you, and it will connect you to that divinity that is already within you trying to emerge. And it's beautiful, it truly is. And if this medicine is meant for you, it will find you. It's guaranteed. That's just how this works. Everything that is already meant to be in your life is already on its way. You're already in alignment with it. You just have to allow it to flow in, to accept it. So, I've mentioned my experience with that in another video, so I'm not going to get too much into it, but check it out, psilocybin. Third one, a lot of people don't consider this as a medicine, but it comes from a plant, and all you're doing is extracting the alkaloid, and that's dimethyltryptamine, DMT. I'm sure you hear it many times. It's becoming more and more popular through Joe Rogan's podcast. And some people will resonate with this medicine and it will assist, while others will just pretty much just have a colorful experience. But if you continue to utilize this medicine, I used it for I said 30 days. I know it was longer than that, but I didn't draw it out. But I used DMT at least, in the beginning of my journey when I first started, becoming familiar with these medicines, at least fucking 50 or 60 days straight, once or twice a day. And people be like, well, you're kind of like disrespecting the medicine. That's why I say go within. Go within. If you fucking sit there and say, oh, if I use this more than twice a week, I'm disrespecting the medicine, then that's what your soul is telling you. And don't do it. But within me, my soul will say, this medicine is here for you. Whenever you have the urge to go within and want to go through this experience, then do it. This medicine is here for you. So it's not a matter of disrespecting the medicine. It's a matter of going within and seeing what your soul resonates with. And like I said, I've had so many fucking transformative experiences on DMT. I mean, I've had it where I incorporated three of these plant medicines together, and I literally fucking incinerated. My whole body was gone. I was just light. And then this light shot out of my ceiling in my bedroom, and I fucking just merged with it and became one. And that was like one of the most mind-blowing experiences I've ever had. But yeah, look into it. And like I said, if this medicine is meant for you, it will find you. It will find you. I don't encourage this. This is for the true psychonauts out there. But if you also struggle with addiction and nothing has worked for you, I would look up iboga root, because it's not necessarily a recreational or a fun experience. Like mushrooms you could eat and you could just go have a good time, and same with other plant medicines. But this one's going to fucking knock your dick in the dirt, bust you right in your head. They actually call it busting the head open, something like that. But I done an iboga experience, and I was kind of I rushed the process. And even though I had a great I don't even want to call it a great experience, because like I said, it busted me in my fucking head. And but it's a medicine and it works. It completely erases and restructures your opiate receptor, as well as your dopamine. So it's back to homeostasis. And some people even have a transformation where like they just wake up and they're no longer craving any drugs or anything, and they connect it to the higher aspect of themselves. But like I said, do your research, and this is something that you definitely want to know about, like, and have somebody trip sitting for you, because the experience is like 3 days, and I fucking did it by myself in my room, and like, that's all I gotta say is careful. It was foolish of me, I know, but I was in such a place where I just wanted this addiction to gone, and this medicine showed up into my life. So I was like, it's for me. I gotta trust it. But I ended up taking the medicine out of fear instead of love. Like, that's one thing we gotta realize is take the medicine out of love. Accept it out of love. Don't fear it, because if you go into this experience with fear, then you're gonna have a fear-based experience. But if you accept it with love and say, this is coming into my life, into my reality to enrich me and to get me, closer to my divine aspects, to my divine light, and just keep an open mind, But is there anyone else, There's a few that I haven't tried yet, I'm looking to experience a ayahuasca journey as well as San Pedro. But I know those will come in time. Like, I'm going to be making a video here quite soon that's going to be my ayahuasca journey, because I know the universe, that's like the next place the universe is sending me, is to Costa Rica to have this experience. So when that ends up showing up in my outer reality, then I'll share that with y'all. But really consider these plants, because they're here to serve us, and they're here to help us with our healing. And if you fucking sit there and look at this as a drug, just know that that's a bad program and it must be removed. Like, find out within you, like, what makes this a drug? Like, a drug is something that is meant to be abused. Like, at least you could just say, it's a mind-altering substance. No, but within my soul, within my being, a drug is something that is there to fucking numb you and fucking, really, really just shut down the fight or flight and the fucking fear and the fucking worry and all that. And you just numb yourself and escape to another reality just to wake up and it still be there. So just know that. You could sit there and take all these pills and fucking all these drugs, but when you wake up, that fucking same problem is going to be there, and you're going to have to deal with it. So don't even look into fucking any type of medicine that comes from a doctor. Unless, like, you're fucking sick and you need some type of fucking antibiotic or whatever. But just remember, everybody's running on a bad program, even these doctors, and they're just following their program on what they're taught, And one thing I want to stress is, like, when you sit there and you judge another human being, you're judging the divine, and you're pretty much telling the divine that they're imperfect, because the divine had created this imperfect individual. But in all reality, we are all perfect and whole. And it's not us, it's not the I or the self that is imperfect. It is the program that we are running on. And once we can remove these fucking programs, then we will fall back into our natural state. And that is a divine expression of love. That's just what it is. So I hope you all got something out of this video. Like I said, I might cut that book shit short, because that kind of took up 5 minutes, but I felt like it was relevant to yesterday's video about just surrendering and just trusting the universe that they know exactly where you want to be and how you want to feel. Because it's not the cars and the mansions and the girls and the guys that make us happy. That's just a permission slip for happiness. But you are already happy from within, and you just have to pull it out. And there's going to be a time in your spiritual awakening where you ain't dependent on anything in your external reality to fucking find love, to feel happiness, to feel love, to feel joy, to feel abundance. It's already within you. And you can just close your eyes and go within and experience it whenever you want. And that is true fucking power there. Either way, hope everybody's having a beautiful day, and I hope everybody's loving themselves.